What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Arrow Season 6 video. So it has briefly actually been over the weekend. We've had Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in Nashville, which this Heroes and Villains Fan Fest is providing some very cool news as time goes by. And like I said before in my previous videos, it is my favourite convention that I've ever been to. It is really awesome, and I highly recommend checking out the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest. If you have not seen it or you don't know about it, then go and check out their website. They have it all throughout America and also in London, and I actually covered the Fan Fest as well in London as well, so you can go and check that out on my channel. But go and check it out because it's really awesome. So interesting, we had this Stephen Amell panel on Saturday just gone, and he dropped quite a few interesting little notes and tidbits throughout his panel. Now, one of the interesting things is that, or the highlight that I would say personally that we have actually had, is the fact that Manu Bennett will be returning as Deathstroke, and he said that I can report that Manu Bennett is back to being a part of the show, and I think we will see him multiple times this year, which is awesome. Well, yeah, that is really awesome, and I'm really glad to have that character back. And it was really nice to see him return in the finale of Arrow Season 5, because you know what, he is a fantastic character, he's a fantastic actor, and to be honest, Deathstroke's one of the coolest characters in the DC universe by far. And having that character back on the show really does add a lot of gravitas, to be honest, and it's nice seeing someone back from when the show was at its absolute peak. And I think they're getting back there, to be honest, considering that Arrow Season 5 was an absolute stunning piece of work. But the weird thing here is, how will we see Deathstroke return? Now, what is very interesting here is that, well, on a other note here, Emil said that Oliver has an apartment this year, and that though the hero's 5-year odyssey has been fully chronicled, flashbacks still will play a role on this series, in part to flesh out supporting characters' backstories. They are a part of the show's DNA. I would expect to see them on a relatively regular basis. Now, what is curious here is that, well, how would we actually have these flashbacks? Because, well, the story has actually been told. And in my video yesterday, I mentioned that I would expect to see some flashbacks actually return. Now, what could they do is actually have how, or reveal how these characters left the island. So it would be interesting to see if the Deathstroke would return in these flashbacks, and we can see how these characters got off the island. Now that does make a lot of sense, and the question again is, if Deathstroke does return to the present day, will he be a villain or will he be a good guy? Because obviously Oliver and Slade do not have the best relationship, do they? Don't really have a very good relationship, but seemingly it has returned to being a positive one, as we saw in the finale, and it seems like all the nasty toxin that was in his body turning him crazy has actually been fixed, and now he is okay. So I would like to see him return to be an ally of Team Arrow, and I think that that would make a lot of sense if he does actually return to being a character who is an ally. And it would be nice to see him team up with Oliver at times, and we can see Oliver go and help out Deathstroke throughout the season, or have some very special episodes. And that also means that we could actually have him return in some sort of way for the huge crossover that happens quite often. And I would really like to see him return in that capacity, and see that character return in the crossover, because it would make it a lot more special. And they've said that they're going to go through and do things a bit different and go for a more emotional punch. And I think having huge characters from the show's past actually having more roles on the show like this would be really cool, and having him in that crossover would work. But the other thing is that he could also be a baddie, and having him return as the baddie for the season 6 I think wouldn't work, to be honest. I think he's too much of a fan favourite character to return as a bad guy, and it would be cool to see him possibly take on the Vigilante. And I think seeing the Vigilante versus Deathstroke would be something that I personally would really like to see. Two badass people taking people down. But obviously, Oliver this season, he's going to have more of a kind of relationship with William that has been confirmed at Heroes and Villains FanFest in this same panel as well. So that's going to be a huge thing as well. So some really cool things have actually come out of this, and it's nice to see these panels reveal some interesting information. Obviously, it is stuff which we can still completely speculate about, just like this video is speculation based on some interesting comments. However, another thing which we can incredibly speculate about is something else that the character mentioned. And he's mentioned that someone else we have not seen. He said that we have somebody returning to the show this year that we have not seen since season 1. So the question is, who could that actually be? And well, that was actually the Bratva member Anatoly. Last year was mentioned in a similar capacity. So let me know what you think below. Who do you think could actually return in season from season 1? Because we've got some of our favourite characters back already. Now that person could be Yao Fei, of course, who we all thought would, or quite a few of us thought could possibly be Prometheus, which would have been an interesting addition to this. But who do you think it could actually be? So having someone from his past like that would be really cool. However, I'm not too sure if I would actually want that. I want them to look forward and create a new history and have new characters. But we are getting someone from season 1, so that would be a very interesting addition, albeit where is he? How would he actually come back? It would take a lot for them to actually have this kind of character return to the show, and it would be they'd have to do it in a decent way, and returns sometimes aren't usually the best, unfortunately. A lot of shows fall into the trap of bringing back a huge character just for the shock value, but then the reason that they come back is always sometimes a bit rubbishy, and it's a bit naff as to why they've actually returned. Now, someone else who could possibly actually return, and someone who that Stephen Amell is actually mentioning, is someone who has been gone since season 1, and is someone who could return, albeit they are completely dead, and that person is none other than Tommy Merlin. Now, Tommy Merlin is someone who we've expected possibly to return. It's been quite some time since we have seen him on the show, and he is still a fan favourite. He's a mainstay at the Heroes and Villains FanFest, and to be honest, when I was at London, his booth was absolutely rammed, and everyone seems to love him quite a lot, even though he hasn't been on the show for a while. But he is, of course, on the American show Chicago Med, so that might be part of it. But having him back would be really awesome. But obviously, being on a massive show in America means that you can't possibly fit in another time to be on a huge network show. But it would be cool to have him back, but the death part is actually quite an issue. However, it would be really neat, and I think would be the perfect person to bring back on the show. But like I said earlier in this video, they're done with the past on this show. However, Malcolm Merlin being dead means that he possibly has a reason to return if he has been hiding in the wings. But that is if he hasn't actually been the Vigilante, because we know that the Vigilante will be having his identity revealed this season in the upcoming Arrow Season 6, and that would be really nice to see. However, I am well aware that it is a huge leap for him to be him. However, the Prometheus one came completely out of the left field and shocked me to the absolute core, so it would be nice to have him, but it is huge pie in the sky thinking. But at the moment, it really is the best option in my opinion. Now, obviously, over the course of the summer, we'll have a lot more information released, and I expect them possibly to announce who will be returning very soon over the course of this summer, possibly at San Diego Comic-Con, which is just a couple of weeks away, and I'm super excited about. But let me know who you think will return in the comments below. Please drop a like if you did enjoy the video, and if you subscribe, you'll never miss a video from myself, as well as clicking that bell button to get notifications. That is it. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.